He silenced the most feared striker in UFC history, but was it a fluke? On a cold night at UFC 313, Magomed Ankalaev walked straight through Alex Pereira, the man many called untouchable, and ripped the light heavyweight crown from his hands. No wrestling clinic, no grinding decision, he beat him at his own game. That single night sent shockwaves through the MMA world. The Poatan Era that seemed unstoppable suddenly ended with a thud. But that story isn't over. Now just months later, Pereira returns for revenge, and Ankalaev stands ready to prove that what happened wasn't an accident. It was the beginning of a new reign. And it's not just the main event. Merab Dvalishvili takes on Cory Sandhagen in the co-main, a collision between relentless cardio and surgical precision. And before that, two wild men, Jiří Procházka and Khalil Rountree Jr., are set to trade chaos for a ticket back to title contention. This is UFC 320, a card that could rewrite the future of 3 divisions. Let's break it down. At UFC 313, Alex Pereira entered the octagon as the runaway train of the light heavyweight division. A 2-division champion, a kickboxing legend, a man who turned brutal precision into stardom. Nobody, not even the wrestlers, wanted to stand in front of him. Then came Ankalaev, a quiet, unassuming figure from Dagestan who had spent years slowly climbing the rankings. Many thought he'd wrestle, few thought he'd strike, but from the first bell, Ankalaev walked Pereira down. No hesitation, no respect for the mystique. Pereira's kicks were muted, his forward pressure evaporated. He found himself on the back foot, something fans had rarely seen. Ankalaev didn't even need the takedown. The mere threat of it opened up his striking, a stiff jab, a heavy right hand, and as the rounds wore on, it was clear, Poatan wasn't dictating the fight anymore. Ankalaev was. When the belt was finally wrapped around his waist, the arena felt split, stunned silence on one side, roars of new era on the other. It wasn't just a title change, it was a power shift at 205. But whispers followed, whispers that would turn into full-blown speculation. Almost immediately after the loss, rumors started to swirl. Pereira's camp hinted that he'd gone into the fight injured, that he wasn't at 100%, that the Poatan who fought that night wasn't the same destroyer who flattened the division. Fans were divided. Some said Ankalaev exposed Pereira. Others said it was an illusion, that Pereira was compromised and that the rematch would look completely different. Pereira himself added fuel to the fire in interviews. Subtle comments, quiet suggestions, not excuses, but enough to keep the debate alive. And that's what makes UFC 320 so compelling. This isn't just a rematch, it's a crossroads. Was UFC 313 the birth of a dominant champion? Or a one-night stumble from one of the most dangerous men to ever step into the octagon? And if Pereira truly is back to 100%, the answer might shock everyone. Magomed Ankalaev's journey to the title has been anything but flashy. No viral knockouts, no over-the-top trash talk, just cold efficiency. A decorated fighter from Dagestan, Ankalaev came into the UFC with a wrestling base like many of his countrymen, but over the years he developed crisp, calculated striking, a style that doesn't rely on volume or flash, but on timing, distance, and pressure. For a long time, he was seen as that solid guy, dangerous but not must-see. Even his interim title fight ended in a draw, which cooled momentum, but UFC 313 changed everything. Walking Pereira down and outstriking him wasn't just unexpected, it was statement-making. But now, Ankalaev faces a different challenge, proving it wasn't a one-off. This rematch isn't just about defending his belt, it's about cementing his reign, stepping out of the shadows and becoming the undeniable king of light heavyweight. But on the other side of the cage stands a man with fire in his eyes. Alex Pereira is 38 years old. Time doesn't wait for anyone, not even legends. But don't mistake his age for weakness. Few fighters in history have climbed as fast or made as much noise as Poatan. From kickboxing king to UFC double champion in record time, his rise felt mythical. His left hook became a cultural moment. His stare down sent shivers. But in March, that aura cracked. This rematch is about legacy. If Pereira wins, he doesn't just get his belt back, he reignites the heavyweight ambitions he's been hinting at for months. He can continue the story middleweight king, light heavyweight champion, and maybe the first to conquer 3 divisions. But he can't do it by waiting. In the first fight, he was hesitant, reactive, late on the jab. This time, he must become the old Poatan again, the man who walked forward, chewed through legs, and ripped through guards like paper. The pressure is immense, because if he loses again at his age on this stage, it might be the last run. Before the co-main, fans will get a wild appetizer. Jiří Procházka versus Khalil Rountree Jr. is one of those fights where nobody expects it to go the distance and everyone expects violence. Procházka is chaos personified. His unorthodox movement, unpredictable angles, and willingness to brawl have made him a fan favorite. But he's not just wild, he's evolving. In his last fight against Jiří, fans saw a more defensively aware version of Jiří, still unpredictable, but smarter. Khalil Rountree, on the other hand, is a man reborn. After a brutal loss to Pereira, he came back with explosive Muay Thai and vicious intent. When he hits, it looks like he's trying to send shockwaves through the arena. Both men are coming off fights that reshaped their careers. Both want another crack at the title, and both know that a spectacular finish here could put them right in line to face the winner of Pereira versus Ankalaev II. 2 Chaos Merchants, 1 stage, someone's going to sleep. The co-main event is a stylistic gem. Merab Dvalishvili, the relentless pressure machine, against Cory Sandhagen, one of the most cerebral strikers in the sport. Merab has built his game on insanity-level cardio and pressure. If he can't take you down the first time, he'll try again. And again, and again, 15, 20, 30 times if he has to. He melts opponents with volume and pace. Sandhagen is his opposite. Measured, precise. A technician? After losing to Aljamain Sterling years ago, he evolved, shoring up his grappling and turning himself into a truly well-rounded martial artist. His recent performance against Umar Nurmagomedov showed that he can scramble, adapt, and think under pressure. At 33, this is Cory's now or never moment. If he beats Merab, he cements himself as one of the most complete bantamweights of his generation. But if he can't keep up with Merab's pace, he'll join a long list of elite fighters who are simply outworked. This fight is a war of wills, gas tank versus game plan, and it could shape the future of the entire bantamweight division. UFC 320 isn't just another card, it's a turning point. If Pereira wins, the legend is reborn, the doubts disappear, the heavyweight path reopens, and the Poatan mystique returns stronger than ever. If Ankalaev wins, the message is clear, this is a new era, the Dagestani grip has tightened on another division, and a once quiet contender becomes an undeniable force. Meanwhile, Merab versus Sandhagen could determine the bantamweight GOAT race, and Jiří versus Rountree might give us the next challenger at 215. 3 divisions, 3 massive questions, 1 unforgettable night. So who walks out a legend and who gets left behind?